Welcome back, sir. So, can you please explain in a nutshell what exactly is the essence of the five biological laws?
Yes, Dr. Archana. I will try to give the essence of the five biological laws of nature in order to impress upon the minds of my viewers how they are able to annihilate the fear of diseases. According to GNM, all so-called diseases are nature's curing processes. In GNM, we do not use the term diseases because people have a negative meaning or negative understanding about the term disease. All diseases are curable, or all diseases are in reality curing process of nature. All disease processes are comprehensible. If we spend some time to understand what exactly is the nature's process happening, it is comprehensible. We can understand what is happening. It's not that difficult. It is not something can be excluded or separated, telling that it's a technical thing, it's a medical thing. No, everybody can understand. That is how Dr. Hammer has put forward these five biological laws as well as his GNM. So all the five biological laws are comprehensible. Nature wants us to enjoy this freedom from the fear of diseases. All diseases are nature's programs installed or inherent in us for freeing us from this fear, or for our defense mechanism, so-called, or for our survival. So they are all called the beneficial biological programs of nature. So that is how they are all beneficial. Yes.
So far, you were giving some introduction to the discoveries of Dr. Hammer. You call the five biological laws of nature. Now, can you explain each one of them in detail and show what is revolutionary about them, sir?
Actually, Dr. Archana, it's my purpose. My intention is to explain, but due to the limitation of time, I will shorten it and I will try to explain as much as I can. First, let us take the first biological law of nature. Dr. Hammer says 100% of all natural diseases originate from a biological conflict shock that occurs unexpectedly in the psyche. The so-called disease conditions following a trauma, for example, an accident, a trauma, injury, etc., or a real poisoning, whether it is food poisoning or animal poisoning or chemical poisoning, or a real malnutrition. For example, if somebody is not having sufficient nutrients or has not taken proper water or minerals, he may show some symptoms, but they are not called natural diseases. They are not included under this category of natural diseases, wherein all diseases have to have the psychic conflict as the triggering point, or to kickstart a program called, it's a program called disease. So what he means by the word psyche is really the subconscious mind. It is not the conscious mind. It is the subconscious mind. So it's a revolution, really. So far, man has not put all the causes of diseases or these causes of all diseases under this category. Man was knowing, or humanity was knowing about some diseases having some connection with the mental diseases or the psychic reasons. But Dr. Hammer is not telling that. He's telling 100% of the natural diseases are caused by some conflicts, psychic conflicts, or conflicts happening in the psyche or the subconscious mind. So, because so far the conventional medicine explained disease purely on a material basis or physical level, and therefore the synchronicity of the mind, brain and body is the most important characteristic of GNM, and that is what really is revolutionary with German new medicine.
How could Dr. Hammer prove so exclusively that all diseases are caused by psychic conflicts, sir?
Actually, it is the result of his 30 long years of research. He had with him 40,000 well-documented cases to prove his discoveries, to support his claims. His scientific methods of research also was very revolutionary. He showed that a particular conflict shock impacts in the brain in a very particular or specific area in the brain. He showed that this impact is a real thing, not glitches of the technology. He showed it in real live cases by taking the CT scans of all his patients. Even though he started with his cancer patients, he did it with all these so-called disease sufferers, and later he made it the principle or the theory or the truth behind all the so-called psychiatric diseases or the mental diseases so-called. So this is, according to GNM, every so-called disease, whether it is psychiatric, so-called psychiatric or mental diseases, or so-called neurological diseases, or the commonly accepted physical diseases, all diseases, 100% of the diseases have got this. And he used very rational method of testing, and his testing or the research was very clear. Anybody can comprehend the methodology, his research, his results, and that was how he proved that the 5 biological laws are the fundamental of health, disease, and cure. So, is it not really revolutionary? I feel it's really revolutionary.
True, sir. The research methodology itself is very revolutionary. The first biological law is a knowledge humanity never had. So this will create a lot of confusion in common man. I hope you will give explanation for all of them, sir. Because all these days we were not educated that psyche is the reason for all the diseases. So this should not create any confusion in common man, sir. So please explain it for them, sir.
Definitely, there is a clear clarification or explanation in GNM. See, for example, if you are telling about the so-called psychiatric diseases, the so-called modern medicine or conventional medicine thinks that it is due to some chemical imbalances happening in the body, resulting in the development of mental diseases or psychiatric disease. It is not that way. Dr. Hammer says it is also, or they are also caused by the same reason, psychic conflicts. So we are talking about nature's biological laws. So it's a biological law of nature. It is applicable in all cases of diseases, including so-called psychiatric diseases. In GNM, psychiatric diseases are called schizophrenic constellation. It is different from the schizophrenia that the conventional medicine speaks of, because more than one conflict impacts in both the hemispheres simultaneously. That is the explanation, very clear. So Dr. Hammer says the development of psychiatric diseases or the schizophrenic constellation according to GNM is the result of simultaneously acting or affecting two conflicts in both hemispheres. And usually it happens with the temporal lobe of the cerebral cortex, and due to simultaneous activity, conflict activity of two conflicts, at least more than that. So two conflicts on both the hemispheres simultaneously can result in, it's a revolutionary understanding. It's a revolutionary discovery by Dr. Hammer. Archana.
So psychiatric conflicts are the reason for all the sufferings of human beings means, do you mean to say that the genetic diseases, lifestyle diseases, environmental diseases, etc. are not true?
So now you have mentioned only the names of 3 or 4 disease conditions. The number is going to be a big, large number, because we GNM or Dr. Hammer is not going to say that only lifestyle diseases are not there or genetic diseases are not there, environmental diseases are, no. There is a large number of disease conditions which we believe they are the truths. Dr. Hammer says they are all myths. So we have not started telling about that because it's not within the time availability of our program. The list is really endless. We will see many other conditions where common man is misled to believe that all diseases are malfunctions or disorders or malignancies of nature. Whereas there is no malfunction in nature, there is no disorder in nature, there is no malignancy, there is no malignant diseases according to GNM. So in reality, nature is our mother nature and she never makes mistakes and never she can be inimical to her creations. Dr. Hammer defines disease like this. So if you understand this disease, then you will understand what exactly he means by the disease. So every disease is a significant biological program activated in order to assist the human organism in coping with that particular conflict situation. So by production of so-called diseases, nature intends to improve the function of that particular organ so that he may be in a better position to manage the situation and to restore the conflict. Are they not revolutionary? They are really revolutionary. So far, man has not thought about, or he was very much convinced to refute what all things are very strongly held by the conventional medicine and naturally believed by the common man.
So psychiatric conflicts are the causes of diseases. So do you mean to say that according to GNM, microbes that are told by conventional medicine as coming from outside our body do not cause disease?
Yes, Archana, that is what exactly Dr. Hammer said. It is not a mere announcement or telling a theory like that. That is why I said GNM is nothing but a revolution. It's full of revolution. So Dr. Hammer refutes the microbial theory, or so popularly known as germ theory, which the so-called modern medicine held firm till this day to themselves for the last more than 20 years. 200 years, 2 centuries. We have to understand it is not a concept, it is not a theory that humanity held previous to that one. I am not going to repeat the history of Louis Pasteur and all. So what Dr. Hammer says is that microbes are not our enemies, but they are our supporters in the healing process. So microbes are supporting us in the whole healing process. By this same reason, there is no immune system. Is it not revolution again?
True,
So
sir.
nobody will believe that Dr. Hammer says there is no immune system. He qualifies it as a supporting system. If we find the white cells, leukocytes, lymphocytes, etc., or some, they are all supporting. And therefore, Dr. Hammer says he has got explanation. There is no fabrication called immune system. And therefore, the immune system theory is not in GNM. Therefore, microbes do not attack human because they are the creation of the nature. Nature has not designed things to go like that. And therefore, they cannot attack. They cannot attack. So Mother Nature never has designed any fight or any war-like situation to happen within our system of any organism, not only human, but all animals, all plants. So nature has designed everything perfect manner. There is no question of malignancy. There is no question of dysfunction. There is no question of disorder happening in the life. So we'll talk about microbes in an elaborate manner, of course, a limited manner only, when we will discuss about the fourth biological law of nature. So that fourth biological law of nature is qualified, or Dr. Hammer calls it the beneficial role of microbes. That is how he has understood, or he has described the role of bacteria or the microbes in general for our health.
GNM is truly revolutionary, sir, because as a doctor, as a human, common public also, we casually use the term infections and antibacterial, viral infections, bacterial infections so commonly. So this is truly a revolutionary thing. You said Dr. Hammer refuted the microbial theory. Do you mean to say that toxins also do not cause diseases according to GNM, sir?
Yes, Dr. Archana is again a revolutionary information or wisdom we are sharing with Dr. Hammer. See, really, he's telling the toxin theory is an everyday business for every human being on this earth. We cannot put aside or we cannot throw from our mind the concept that the foods we intake, the water we take, the environment we are living in, all can cause diseases. It's a daily business. And Dr. Hammer says, no, neither this water may be polluted environment, polluted air, foods, they cannot make diseases. What he says is that they can be harmful for the body. They can be harmful, but they cannot cause diseases. He has given a very beautiful definition for the diseases, and he has stated very forcibly that they cannot make diseases, even though they can be harmful. So diseases, in order to kickstart it, there should be a psychic conflict. That is what Dr. Hammer says. They are, of course, harmful. They may be harmful for the body, but what he meant was that, like the poisoning, they are not natural diseases. For all natural diseases, there should have a psychic conflict to kickstart a biological special program. So good foods, good water, good environment, they are all good for the organism to keep away from the conflicts. Suppose we are having this food, atmosphere, everything, it is helping an individual to be free from conflicts, and also they will assist him to come out of these conflicts, or the healing process can be easy if he is taking good food, good water, etc., etc. They
Okay.
cannot make any disease. So
Okay.
all these are really revolutionary.
True, sir. If according to GNM only psychic causes can cause diseases, how we will be able to explain the standard genetic theory of causation of disease?
Yes, a good percentage of the diseases, you see, if we are examining, wherever the causation is not understood by the medical profession, if they cannot explain, see, for example, if a vitiligo is there or a cancerous growth is there, they will say because of this. Then if somebody is strong enough to ask why that second, then it is genetic. So genetic reason of production of diseases is a common thing they ascribe to not only the psychic type of diseases or not only to physical diseases, they ascribe this to psychic diseases, neurological diseases, mental diseases. All are genetic diseases. So Dr. Hammer says, no, there is nothing like that transferred from previous generation. There is no defect in the genes. There is no defect because these are not proved. We can say that a particular disease is because of a genetic defect, but they have not proved that this particular gene is defective and that is why this particular condition is caused. And therefore, this theory of defective genes and defective chromosomes are not holding water. He rules out the family inheritance of diseases also. Family history has no predisposing influence on individuals. They are really revolutionary. So conventional medicine fails to explain why a gene is defective or how a particular defective gene produces diseases. That is the tragedy of it. Whenever we do not have the clear idea of a causation of disease, we ascribe it to the genetics. But they are failing to explain how it happens or why that genetic defect happens. Why? So this is what Dr. Hammer says. It is going beyond the physical level, and that is where we have to give more importance, and that is where GNM is giving importance. There is a mental or psychic level. Beyond that, of course, there are spiritual levels. If we go still higher up, there are souls. As homeopaths believe, the vital force is still above the mind, because vital force is above. So we are not going to that level. Even in the psychic level, we can have the explanation by understanding the German New Medicine.
So cancers are also nothing to be afraid of, you say, sir?
Really, the right knowledge of German New Medicine will keep you free from fear of all diseases, including cancers. And therefore, in GNM, there is no such question. That is, whether cancer also is something not to be afraid of. Yes, that's the beauty of it. That's a revolution in GNM. Dr. Hamer's research, actually, he started to find the secrets of the disease called cancer, because he was afflicted with the cancer. Then he wanted to know the reason, the secret behind the development of my cancer. He's thought like this. After the death of his beloved son of 19-year-old, after 3 months, he developed a testicular cancer. He was trying to find out whether my grief or my conflict of loss has got something to do with my development of testicular cancer, testicular teratoma. So that was how he started his these researches. So it was thereafter he understood that 5 biological laws are applicable to all other physical diseases, not only to cancer, so-called cancer, because in GNM, there is no such classification. This is a malignancy, or this is a benign type of growth, or like that. There's no classification like that. So 5 biological laws are applicable to all other diseases. It was still later at a time he discovered that all the so-called psychiatric diseases are also explainable with 5 biological laws of nature. He was certain that humanity is forcibly thrown into the scare of diseases. They are almost paranoid about diseases. That is the real situation humanity is in. And that is the real revolution that Dr. Hamer brings to the world. So cancer scare is the number 1 scare. 5 biological laws of nature deliver humanity from this scare of diseases, including cancers. Cancer is not exempted. Cancer is not something to be afraid about. Because how it starts, yes, GNM has got explanation. He said, no one will die of cancers. When I say this, every one of my viewers, listeners, must be thinking, what about my grandfather? What about my auntie who died of cancer? No, nobody dies of cancer. That is what Dr. Hamer very affirmatively said, that everybody, if at all dying, it is because of the scare of cancer. And it is because of the bad treatment given to the person. So you know the concept of cancer in the society. Once somebody is diagnosed, need not be diagnosed even, any tumor, he starts thinking that this can be a cancer. So this fear of cancer is a part and parcel of the humanity of this age. And Dr. Hamer is there coming as a revolutionary to free humanity from the fear of diseases, including cancers. So conventional medicine fixes certain range for the growth of cells, for example, in a case of tumor. And this range is what? Or there are certain tests, some antibody tests, there are markers, the cancer markers. These are how the conventional medicine is saying that this is a cancer. So that very diagnosis on the face of the patient itself is sufficient to put him in a very desperate situation. That is the scenario, health scenario, medical scenario that is around us.
So cancer will not kill anybody, but the scare kills, you are saying. So
Yes,
dismantling the fear is the first step. So that can be achieved through GNM knowledge, you are saying, sir. So what do you think the space GNM is going to occupy amidst a number of medical systems already existing in the world, sir?
That's a good question, because everybody will have an impression about GNM as an enemy, a contestant, or one additional system of treatment that has come to the thousands of medical systems in this world. It is not like that. by the name of German New Medicine, many people who have not known, it will give them a suspicion that it is just another addition to the number of medical systems. It's not like that. GNM is the right understanding of health, disease, and cure. It is not a system of administration of any type of drugs. In German New Medicine, we don't use any drug substances or any drug substance. GNM does not believe in the administration of any material substance to suppress the nature's healing processes. In my opinion, the 5 biological laws of nature can be the foundation of all medical systems in the world. As a homeopath, I am of the strong opinion that homeopathy shall be founded on this firm foundation of German New Medicine.
So what are the points in favor of your opinion that GNM shall be the foundation of all medical system existing in the world?
It's the character of anyone who has come to know the truth of health, disease, and cure. Dr. Hammer wanted his GNM should be taught to all people of all world. He wanted it to be taught in all medical schools. GNM is a complete medical system according to Dr. Hammer. But as a homeopath, with my 48 years of learning the science of homeopathy, I can only say that GNM can be the foundation of homeopathy also. I strongly believe that as a homeopath, homeopathy has got a lot more to offer beyond GNM. Only GNM can say why someone became sick at a particular point of time, why he got a particular type of disease. If we say that he got cancer, GNM gives why he got a cancer. GNM says why he got a particular breast cancer or prostate cancer. Only he can say that. And why, for example, why left breast is affected, why right breast is affected, why 3 months back she started developing this growth in the breast or in the ovary. So only GNM gives the explanation. As a homeopath, I am confessing that my friends, my colleagues who are in the field of homeopathy are not at all thinking in this line. Why? Why? Just before that also he had this shoulder joint. But why 3 months back? Why 2 days back? He started developing this right shoulder pain. So that way it's not. We are simply, just like conventional medicine is teaching us, we are telling that this cold air has produced, this wet, rainy season has produced this rheumatic type of pain. No, this is only an excuse. We have to know why, because this cold season was there last year also. It didn't affect this man. Why? Why? So GNM gives perfect explanation for this, because the disease can be caused by the psychic reasons only. So that is the revolution. That is the beauty of GNM, that it gives a wonderful new knowledge. That is the revolution contained in the German New Medicine, Dr. Archana.
So for the homeopathic viewers, sir, I'll be asking you one question. What is the most important aspect that attracted you in GNM? What would be your answer there, sir?
I told already, or I have expressed this in a number of my webinar seminars. That is, actually, Dr. Hammer says that the psychic conflicts affects an individual not only depending on the intensity of the conflict, but on the subjectivity of this individual. So that is the point which attracted me most towards, because Hammer is not telling that a particular conflict has come in, a particular conflict happened, and therefore this particular disease will come or this particular symptom will come. No, Hammer is telling one important thing that depends upon the subjectivity. That is what is all about homeopathy. Homeopathy is the individualization is the most important thing. Hyman, and that was my area where I concentrated, and that was how I started teaching, learning homeopathy in this framework of chronic miasms. And that subjectivity is exactly not in the terminology of chronic miasms or anything, but the subjectivity is given maximum importance, because when a patient comes with a particular physical symptom, we are able to tell exactly where exact position in the brain the conflict made the impact. And of course, we can predict that this must have been there as a conflict, psychic conflict, to produce diseases. Patient might have forgotten. Patient may be keeping it a secret, is not coming out openly. What not? There is a phrase, or there is a sentence: body never lies. If a particular growth is a particular part of the body, definitely this is thing. Therefore, body never lies, and therefore, this subjectivity is the main point which attracted me to the learning of German new medicine. So, in the whole of the homeopathy philosophy, its miasm theory is the most important principle that I appreciated throughout my life, throughout my practice as a classical homeopathy. How a particular conflict will be taken up by a particular individual is very much a subjective matter. If the husband leaves his wife, for example, it's a particular scenario. Husband is leaving his wife, going with another lady, leaving this first wife alone. Then what can happen? That is where Dr. Hammer says a number of diseases can happen. Suppose if she had a sexual problem, it can affect the cervix, or if she felt a loss conflict, it can affect the ovary. If she find that tomorrow onwards, what will I do? There will be starvation in my family, or I will be starving. Then her liver can be affected. If it's an isolation, then it can affect the kidney. A fish out of water feeling, tomorrow onwards I am going to be labeled as a widow, no more a wife. So depending upon the conflict, exactly the organ that is going to be affected will vary, and we can predict the exact reason for the development of this particular disease, because body never lies, and that is how we can go back to the exact cause of the disease in the psychic level. So if the husband, this is a particular scenario I was telling. So the pre-programming of the individual makes him susceptible for a specific conflict. So subjectivity is explained like this. It is already pre-programmed. And this pre-programming that must have been through the training, through the formation by the in-depth belief systems. So many things are there that depends upon or that makes the vulnerability acting in a particular patient. Okay.
So, like how you and me are applying German new medicine in homeopathy, all the learners should apply their GNM knowledge in their own domains for the benefit of their associates and people around them. So the next question would be, according to GNM, there are no genetic disorders. Then how can GNM will explain the congenital deformities in children or the medical conditions that occur before birth?
Yes, really, there are a number of medical conditions that happen to a baby, intrauterine baby, fetus. And it all happens because of one explanation Dr. Hammer says. The mother can suffer from the conflict. The conflict can be shared with the baby in the uterus, because there is a rule that conflicts can be shared. It is not a disease transferred through the blood or lymph or anything like that. Not genes are coming, no chromosomes are coming. It is a psychic cause happened with the mother during the pregnancy, during the whole period of pregnancy. It affected the child. I have a number of experiences in this area where I could meet with many cases of congenital deformities that are explainable by making use of this understanding that I got from Dr. Hammer. This is really revolutionary, because that explains all the development of congenital deformities or congenitally defective children. And he says conflicts can be shared by the beloved one. So the child is a beloved child. So that means the conflict suffered by the mother is taken up by the baby in the womb, causing all the congenital disorders. Conflicts of children can be suffered by the mother also. Once the child has grown up, the child has some disease, for example, and it can be transferred to the mother also, because mother is loving her child. So any conflict suffered by the child can be taken up by the mother also. So conflicts of family members are shared among themselves. And that is how Dr. Hammer explains how it's an everyday business. Somebody brought, they use this word, they brought the cold, they brought Nipah, they brought SARS, they brought COVID. And that is how somebody brought this fever, somebody brought this cold, other fellow in the other fellow or the other person in the family suffered. So all these family diseases are explained by Dr. Hammer on this principle or this finding that conflicts can be shared or among the beloved ones. So this is how Dr. Hammer explains infectious diseases. There are large number of infectious diseases that are running within the family. And take it from me, it is the same principle that is applicable in all the cases of epidemics, pandemics, all conditions of this sort of infectious diseases are all explained because of this principle that conflicts can be shared. And I'm not going to explain what happened in this pandemic. The news, the information that we get that it is around us, and that is the reason for this panicky situation suffered by the people, and I'm not going to explain the rest of them. So he does not believe in the immune system theory and rules out the possibility of a sudden fall of immunity for a large number of people all on a sudden. So if we make use of little of our rationality, we can understand that at a particular point of time, without any reason, the immunity of a large number of people fell down all on a sudden. Unbelievable. And therefore, Dr. Hammer has got the sufficient reason, sufficient explanation of all these things.
So conflicts can be shared is truly a revolutionary thing, sir. So
yes.
And the
conflicts can be shared
for this epidemics and genetic disorders with this is truly revolutionary thing. What are the other revolutionary findings of Dr. Hammer, sir?
See, Dr. Archana, I told them my stand I am repeating, that is GNM is full of revolutions or full of revolutionary ideas. So one such revolutionary finding of Dr. Hammer is his establishment of this Hammer focus in the brain. It is called in German Hammerscher Herd or HH. So at the very instance of the psychic conflict called DHS. DHS is after his son's name, that is Dirk Hammer syndrome it is called. Or there occurs a three-dimensional concentric sharp rings in a very specific predetermined area in the brain, visible in a brain CT. And that is the scientificity of his discoveries and explanation of his findings. Its appearance will give exact idea where, in which part of the brain this has impacted, or we can say which conflict is active. Not only that, whether this conflict is in an active stage, in a resolution stage, early part of resolution, or the resolution has happened much beyond a time. Many years back it happened. But without understanding this, the conventional medicine is finding at some point of time a scar tissue or an opacity in the brain, and they are diagnosing all as brain cancers or brain tumors, and they're unnecessarily unnecessarily making conflicts or making complications in the life of so many peoples. So I used to say, so many skulls were open till today, without understanding what exactly is the opacity happening in the brain, what exactly is the scar tissue that is formed. Dr. Hammer has got explanation for all these things. And all these things are I cannot, within this limited time, explain all these revolutions. I believe GNM is full of revolutions, or GNM is nothing but revolution. So even a condition of a patient, what will happen in next time or what will happen in future, can be even predicted by German New Medicine. So very often I have felt, because we can say that GNM is a predictive medicine because of sufficient reasons and explanations. Yes, Archana.
Okay. Is there any more popularly approved standard theories of conventional medicine that were disproved by Dr. Hammer?
There are many theories of conventional medicine, or actually German New Medicine is putting this medical science on its head, upside down. That much of revolution German New Medicine is bringing to this world. The whole of GNM is revolutionary, I repeat, and antagonistic to the standard theories of conventional medicine. And that is why Dr. Hammer called it as old medicine. Dr. Hammer was very boldly calling the conventional medicine, in spite of all his hardships or tortures he had to suffer from the side of the conventional medicine. He called it old medicine. Since we are now talking about the first biological law of nature, I can narrate few more conditions that are not causing diseases, because only a psychic conflict can cause diseases according to GNM. So according to GNM, there are no carcinogens. Nobody believes that. Dr. Hammer says there are no such material thing, substance that can cause diseases. We have a large number of them. We cannot take food in an aluminum vessel. We cannot smell a plastic being burned. So many. I'm not going to repeat the number of carcinogens. And the cancer education is confined to the explanation of these things and warning and threatening and frightening people in the name of these carcinogens. Don't take that drink. Don't take this food. Don't be in this atmosphere. It can produce cancer. Don't be in sun. Don't be. So there are a number of material substances under the sun. Even sun is a carcinogen, which can cause cancer according to the conventional medicine theory. And not only that, Dr. Hammer says there is no metastasis. It's a common belief that, oh, I have found a secondary in the brain. I have found a secondary in the brain. There must have a primary somewhere. So it is the belief of conventional medicine that a particular number of cancer cells can migrate from the original primary site of cancer. It can swim through the blood or the lymph and reach at another organ and can produce disease. No, Dr. Hammer says it's impossible. This particular substance is having its own originality, its own source of origin. Its embryonic germ layer is different. Its activity is different, that we are going to see in the coming few minutes. They are all different, and therefore, to believe that a particular number of cancer cells detaching from the original growth and to settle in some other organ, make a production or make a new growth there, it's unbelievable according to German New Medicine. Therefore, the metastasis theory he refutes. Similarly, there's no time to explain. There is no allergy theory, or the allergens are non-existent. There are no such substance called allergens. He gives explanation, and it also requires more time. So this allergen theory is refuted by Dr. Hammer. Imbalances in diet theory. So if you take this thing, it's harmful. This thing, it can cause cancer. This particular substance. There are so many number of food substances that are believed to cause cancer. In different parts of the world, there are different belief systems, and everywhere there are a number of materials, food substances ascribed to cause cancers. He says something can be dangerous, something can be harmful, but there is no reason to cause cancer because of these particular substances. In order to make any disease, including cancer, there should have a psychic conflict. When the modern medicine or so-called modern medicine is not understanding this truth, they are finding this particular growth is there, therefore you must have taken this food, or that you must have been on the habit of taking this food. So that is what Dr. Hammer refutes. So I already discussed there is no immune system, that is already discussed. So too much of importance is given by modern medicine for this exercise also. That is also not causing the lack of exercise to cause diseases, or somebody who is doing jogging or running in the morning for half an hour, brisk walking. There is no explanation, because many people are dying, those who are while doing the exercise, those who have been doing, keeping a six-pack body, etc., they're also dying. And therefore, it has got nothing to do with the disease. In order to cause disease, Dr. Hammer repeats, there has to be a psychic conflict. These are all revolutionary.
True, sir. These are all very revolutionary, and everybody should learn it. So you were saying about this Hammer focus on the brain, sir. So importance given to brain is also a revolutionary thing. Can you please explain that?
Definitely, Dr. Archana, you see, I told no, I was practicing homeopathy. I was a so-called good student in the educational period, and the importance given to the brain was very, 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 very desperate. We were not given to understand, except that it has got some parts like a cerebrum or a medulla oblongata or something like that. Beyond that, not in anatomy, not in physiology, no. But see, out of the three components, the psyche, brain, and body or organ, the brain is given very much high importance for this brain, and that is again a revolution. Dr. Hammer classified all organs and tissues of the body as controlled from the old brain and new brain. So first he classified to old brain and new brain. Old brain again divided into brainstem and cerebellum as part of the old brain. And out of these two brain stems, one is again older. Out of these two, brainstem is older. So this oldness or the previous one first originated, these are all revolutionary inventions, because brainstem is primordial. It developed first, thereafter the cerebellum developed, and thereafter came the new brain. And the new brain is again divided into two. One is the new mesoderm, the cerebral medulla and the cerebral cortex. So these are all revolutionary information we are getting from the German medicine. He related those knowledge to the knowledge of embryology and that of the human evolution. That is still revolutionary, as well as a wonderful knowledge that we are getting for the first time from Dr. Hammer. One of the revolutionary theories of GNM is biological handedness. I'm just giving you the names only because I don't have time to explain all these things. So as I told, when I got GNM for the first time, when Dr. Praful was telling, if the complaint is for a right-handed lady, if the complaint is on the left breast, it is something caused by some conflicts from the mother or child side. If it is in the right breast, it is caused due to some conflicts related to her partner. So are they not really revolutionary? So this biological handedness is a theory in German new medicine which explains all these things. It determines in which side of the brain, that's the important thing, a psychic conflict should impact. Again, it determines on which side of the body the symptoms should develop. So all these are revolutionary information that we are getting from Dr. Hammer. Okay.
So psyche to body through brain, that is what is explained in GNM. So from immaterial to material thing through the mediator called brain. So people who are not ready to accept the concept of mind also will be convinced by the brain scans and the Hammer focus seen in the brain scan. That is what you are explaining, no, sir.